Hey everybody, I'm Robin Mankowski and welcome to my new show, Let's Be Honest. I wanted to start a show about real people having real lives. Sometimes social media doesn't portray the whole picture, and often people don't feel safe enough to post about their struggles online and ask for help because they're too afraid of how they'll be judged. I've been there too. You need guidance and you want to ask, but you don't want to feel stupid, and so you don't post anything. It can feel very isolating and defeating. But it's very likely that other people have the exact same experiences and struggles as you, and just like you, are looking for someone to relate. So, let's be honest. The more we talk and post about our struggles online, the more connections we can make and the more resources we can find. My son James is 5 years old and he is a brilliant little boy, but we're pretty sure he has ADHD and he hasn't been officially diagnosed yet, so sometimes it's hard to find resources. So I recently joined a Facebook group for moms with kids with ADHD, ADD, and sensory disorders, and it's been a really big help. But what really moved me is a couple weeks ago, there was a mom that made this post, and it was very honest. She said, "I hate that I feel this way, I'm super ashamed, but I have to say it somewhere and I don't know what else to do." She said, "I love my daughter, but I don't like her." She went on to talk about the struggles they've been having emotionally and behaviorally, and I really sympathized with her. But I was a little scared to read the comment section because people can be so mean and judgmental. But when I opened it, I found the opposite. Not one mom on that post said anything negative to her. Instead, they rallied around her, told her they often feel the same way, and offered their support. And I thought that is the type of community that we need to emulate everywhere. So that's what I'm trying to do here. We're going to cover a wide range of topics, anywhere from issues that everyone's struggling with to tips and tricks. And if I can make one person feel a little less alone, then I've done my job. So today, for my first topic, I want to cover something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is women supporting each other. I think for so long we've kind of been trained that another woman's success is threatening to our own, and if we want to stand out, we need to be recognized and we kind of have to fight for it. But that's just not the case anymore. And when you have a sisterhood behind you, you can take on anything. So for my very first guest, I have a very good friend of mine, and she runs her very own real estate business. It's very successful, and while raising 3 beautiful children with her husband. You might see her on her own web series called Fox Cities Fridays, where she champions for small businesses in the community. Please welcome Amanda Furman.
I feel like I should do a cartwheel. Thank you. Hi.
I'm so excited to have you.
And I'm honored to be on your very first episode.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of a culmination of wanting to do something but not knowing what to do and how to say it, but just wanting to help. So I thought, who better than my good friend Amanda?
Well, I'm honored. Thank you.
So why do you think, first off, it's so hard for women to connect? Like, what's that barrier that people feel so threatened?
I have spent a lot of time thinking about this today, and I think that it is a stereotype that women are very competitive. I really do.
Okay.
I think that there might be some roots in like the overall job market. Women didn't used to have as many opportunities, so
Sure.
when there was a position that was available for a woman specifically, there was a lot of competition.
Sure, that's a good point.
I don't know if that's it, or I feel like there is a lot of pressure specifically on women to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, so one example, I listen to a lot of podcasts about self-improvement and just like being the best version of yourself. And there was an example given about how a CEO at a company had announced that she was pregnant and she was going to be leaving for maternity leave. And one of the first questions that she got asked is, well, how are you going to balance being a new mom and a CEO of this company? And it's like, she said, how many dads get asked that?
Yeah, never.
Never. But we are expected as women to be successful in the workplace, successful mothers, good in the kitchen, take care of our husbands and our house,
Yeah.
and be beautiful and fit and intelligent and like just do it all with a smile on our face.
Yeah.
And that's not life. That is not realistic. Nobody can live up to those expectations.
No. And then when you see those posts on social media and it's like that mom has her 4 kids and you're in that beautiful photo and everyone's like, how is she doing it? And like you didn't see the 17 photos prior to that where everybody was everywhere and she wants to cry because she just paid $250 for a photo shoot that's like nothing.
Yep, exactly.
So what can we do? I mean, what is the best way to champion each other?
I think it's just giving what every human being, no matter what your gender or race or age is, and that's support. You know, supporting one another and truly being happy for our friends when they succeed, but comforting and compassionate when they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and rallying behind each other. I think the answer to that lies within raising our daughters.
Yeah.
And even our sons to champion on the females in their lives.
Sure.
And I think that is how we systematically change what has been this catty, you know.
Yeah.
And again, I do think it's a stereotype,
Okay.
but I think there is some truth to it as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's really important that we be vulnerable with each other because I think that's the biggest barrier is when everyone pretends like they're perfect and they have it all together. There's no connection there, and then really that person is super alone and they just are trying to keep it together to portray that facade. But like, why? It's not worth it. Life's too short. Like, the more that you talk about what you're dealing with, somebody can help you and we can help each other. I think another point too is when you talked about our daughters, I think it's important, even though it's really hard sometimes, to always remember that they're listening to everything that we're saying. So when you have your girlfriend over for wine and you're like, oh my God, Karen at work did this and that and she thinks she's so amazing, because that's how we vent to our close friends. But just be aware of who might be in the room because they think, oh, maybe that's how we should talk about each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to do that when you're venting with someone that's really close to you. But I think for girls to see strong female relationships, to see that bond with your best friend or your best girlfriend, and to know that that's the type of relationship that they should seek growing up. And when there are those mean girls, it's like, they're not really worth your time. It's so hard when their whole world is just like encompassed in that, you know, 4th grade or 5th grade, whatever it is. But to really show them what good examples of female relationships look like.
And I think going off that, sometimes, especially as women, we need to teach people how we expect to be treated.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And establish those boundaries. And that's something that I'm almost 40. I'm just starting to figure out this whole boundary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 4 decades and now I'm trying to instill in my children what has taken me this long to figure out. Like, you don't have to put up with people bullying you. You don't have to put up with people, you know, excluding you. Those aren't true friends.
Right.
And like you said, it's hard when they're young because elementary school, middle school, high school, like that's their little world. Mm-hmm. You know, that's all they know. They don't know and they can't perceive that life gets better.
Right.
And you find people that are more like-minded than you. You're not stuck to this 200, 300 kids that are in your grade.
Right.
And I think that's going to be like the hardest part. I remember talking to some very influential female teachers that I had in high school and them saying, like, just hold on. Like, it gets better.
Yeah.
My grandma used to say, this too shall end. And I talked to my son, he's in junior high now. And you know, he's going through some peer stuff. It's not exactly like girl issues, but you know, it's relevant to him and it's just helping him understand that you need to teach people how to treat you.
Right. Another thing that I think is cool is, you ever walk down the street and a total stranger compliments you for no reason. And like that just makes your entire day. And I feel like I try to do it as often as I can without being like a creeper.
Yes.
But oh my gosh, I really love your boots. And that person leaves and they're like, that's cool.
Yep.
You know, like it just changes everything. And I think it might feel awkward, but you don't know the impact that you can have on another woman, because like maybe that's the first time anyone has given her a compliment in a month. Like you just don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So I think that's a really good idea too.
I 100% agree, and I do the same thing. My husband has actually called me out for it before, and he's been like, I could never do that. Like, even if I thought, like, oh, you know, she's really pretty or he's really good looking or whatever it was, like, I could never say that as a man. You have the luxury of being able to do that as a woman.
That's
and I
true.
was like, there is a little bit of a double standard there, but I'm going to use it to my benefit right now.
Yeah.
Because you're spreading positivity and hopefully, you know, like you said, adding a little sunshine to someone's day.
And that comes back to you too, because you know, you're in real estate, maybe that's, you know, a referral that you just didn't have, but it was a compliment that you just thought to say.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else that we can do to just show women that it's okay to be yourself and to be real and to not have to wear makeup if you don't want to, like just be your most authentic self. But it's hard when, you know, everything is supposed to look a certain way and you're supposed to portray yourself in a certain way. And I think that's one of the challenges that we face that guys don't really have to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's really about finding people who enjoy your cup of tea, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, you are not going to be able to please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is not going to like you.
Right.
That is just a point in life.
Yeah.
You cannot please everybody. And I think what's happened in the past decade or so with social media is we're used as humans to having our core group of humans around us. And there are families, there are friends who are normally like-minded with us. But now what happens is we are on social media and we post something and we have thousands of people from all over the world who get to judge us.
Right.
And that's something that us as humans, where our emotional system, like if you read about it, not to get too, you know, I don't know, medical here, whatever, but we're not meant, our psyches are not meant to handle that.
Yeah.
So it's nearly impossible to not let those negative comments affect you, but it's about focusing your energy on the people that get energy from you.
Yeah.
And you're helping, and delete and block all those other, you know, people. Just literally take them out of your virtual social group or whatever.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because there are some people that are just triggering for you to see. You don't need to see them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to see them. So
keep it positive, and also realize that every single person has issues. We all have issues.
Yeah.
Like some person might have an issue with money, one might be with weight, one might be with, you know, who knows what, but every single person has issues and insecurities.
Yeah.
And if they pretend they don't, it is pretending
Right.
that they don't. They're just putting up a wall for some reason.
Right.
One thing that just kind of crossed my mind. So one of my biggest pet peeves on social media are, I'm gonna like call out a specific group, but like Beachbody. Or these groups, these weight loss groups. I hate that we put a value on women's bodies that are smaller. So they have all these before and afters, like, oh, here's Emily before, and here's Emily after, 2 weeks on Beachbody. And, in the first one, Emily is, and in the second one, she's proud and, whatever. And it's like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this to our girls? Why are we putting this pressure and putting a value on women's bodies? Like, it literally blows my mind. I called a friend out. She's a social media friend. I think I met her in person one time. And I just said, like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you celebrating this body over this body?
Right.
And her response was, I'm going to continue to celebrate women who are successful. And then it was like, okay, again, we're putting a value on what somebody's body
And
looks
she's
like.
determining what she thinks is successful.
Yes.
But that might not be successful for someone else.
Yes, exactly. And it puts a pressure on us. Like when I look at the after picture and it says, you know, now she's or her before picture, let's say her before picture, she weighs more than I weigh now. And I think, God, if this is like, what do I look like? You know, and it's very triggering. I'm sensitive to the weight and the looks, but so is 95% of women and really humans in general. So I feel like that is the shit. Can I swear on the show?
Sure.
Okay. That is the shit we have to stop. You know, especially as women, it's one less pressure that we don't need. If you feel like you need to lose weight in order for you to feel good, do it. Like, be your best version of yourself. But let's not put pictures of each other half clothed online and celebrate the one who is smaller. Like, there's gonna be people that don't agree with that, but that's my opinion and I'm sharing it.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree because it's what makes you happy. It's not necessarily what your body looks like. And I think that's, speaking as a former pregnant woman, there's so much pressure of getting your body back, or God forbid you still have a pregnant belly and then everyone's like, are you pregnant? Like, they have the right to ask you that because you happen to have a belly that day. And like, it's nobody's business, but B, why do you care? Just because I happen to have a little extra weight today. And I remember when I had just had James and I was not feeling my most confident, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some abs or something, you know, at home. I'm not really a workout type person. And I was like, I'm gonna try it, and I just really hated it. And eventually I was like, you know what? I'm making a choice that I'm gonna wear Spanx, and instead of spending 20 minutes working out, I'm gonna spend 20 minutes with my new baby because I just don't care. I'm just choosing my time with my kid over having a flatter stomach for the world to see. It wasn't my priority at the time, but there's so much pressure on that, you know, oh, she's still holding a little baby weight.
Yep. I had a similar story. With my second, it was my first time out with her. It was like, I don't know, she was like 5 days old, and my son had a class at the YMCA. He was 3. So I had a C-section, so my mom came and picked us up, and I just wanted to get out of the house and, like, you know, see people or whatever. And I was literally holding my 4 or 5 day old baby in my arms, standing, like, watching my son's class, and this lady came up to me. It was at the YMCA in downtown Appleton, and she looked at my baby, and then she looked at my belly, and she said, looks like they forgot one in there. And that's something that, I mean, my daughter's about to be 11. Like, I carry that with me to this day. And it's like, our words impact each other. Like, 11 years later, I'm still thinking about this little old lady who came up and said that to me. And why do I put so much value on those words? I don't know, but I do.
It's hard not to.
It is.
But that's a prime example right there. Like, you're a new mom, whether she recognized that or not, like, you don't have the right to say that to another person. It's just not okay. It's so crazy to me that people think they have the right to have an opinion on what you look like. That's crazy.
And voice it, right?
And voice it.
Yep.
The only other thing I want to say is I think it's important for when women are championing for other women, is this quote that always comes in my head, and I'm going to swear now too. It's be the shit without shitting on anyone. And I think if you have to put someone else down or say something negative about something else to make you feel better or to make you look better to anybody else, it's going to come back to you. It always does. And it's just not worth it. So be the shit without shitting on anybody else.
Agreed. And you are the company you keep. So surround yourself with people that you emulate or that you want to be more like.
That's true. That's true, because the person that you think has it all together, you shouldn't be scared of them. You should want to be their friend, because obviously they're doing it right and they're emulating happiness and showing that they, can have it all. And that's the people that I want to be around, so that I can get better and I can just grow as a person. When you're around people that belittle you or make, just a little comment, you're like, I just don't need you. Mm-hmm. You're not helping me grow. You're not benefiting me at all.
Yep.
So, well, this has been awesome for my very first show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll have lots of new episodes coming up. If there's something that you want to learn about or you have questions about, feel free to message me, and I will try and get someone on my show that can cover that topic. And we'll also have a segment throughout the week where I can have people submit their questions for the next upcoming video, so that you can get your questions answered in the video. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
I think that was good.
Yeah, me too.